Family, it's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna Deshawn, with our queer news for today. Now, I want to make you a promise. We will continue to bring you the latest in queer news, culture, and politics. So if you're digging our intersectional take on the weekly, consider joining the Q Crew. The Q Crew is our monthly membership program we started to help grow this podcast. You get weekly emails from me and exclusive interviews with LGBTQ influencers from across the country. With your support, we can bring you more stories celebrating our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and comrade communities. This month, our exclusive interview for the Q Crew is with Glenise. Glenise is the founder of VDOM, and VDOM is the latest sex tech innovation made for and by our community. As a Black queer woman, Glenise was joking with friends about an easier way to strap up with her boo. What if we went from flaccid to erect so we could get it in anytime? Well, she settled in on the idea and decided to create it. We talk about her journey and her recent second place win in Pharrell's Black Ambition Prize contest, where she walked away with $250K. Now, if you want to watch this exclusive interview, you got to join the Q Crew. As always, the link is in the show notes. Family, Queer News is now a weekly podcast. My goal is to build the team up so we can properly execute a daily pod. But until then, a new episode will drop every Monday at 7 a.m. Chicago time. So if you enjoy what you hear, please leave us a review. It would be the best holiday gift. And thank you for being on the Queer News journey with us. Now for the news. BG is home, y'all. She is really home and has decided to leave the Sam Houston Army base and head back to Phoenix for the holidays. Gosh, I've waited so long to say that. The Respect for Marriage Act is now law, and I got some friends to share some reflections. And I am going to share the top 5 episodes of the Queer News Podcast in 2022. Let's go.
You are now tuned in to higher frequencies. We do this frequently. Turn your radio station to E3 for that decency. Listen to great music and the latest movement. Safe listening for anyone that's tuned in. Who you waking up to? Anna Deshawn, Q Crew and friends. It's that real talk. Online radio with the spins. You caught up in traffic, frustrated. Just check in with E3 to shift your vibrations and get elevated. That's queer radio done right. Choose to be yourself. That's the only way to live life, and that's how it's done here. Just know y'all tuned in to the greatest. Ain't no competition. We ain't worried about the other stations. Check.
Family. I'm really excited that I get to say this. And I've been waiting so long to say this in context on this podcast. Family, BG is home. Yeah, yes, she is. She is home. After 294 days of being wrongfully detained and 2 weeks back on U.S. soil, BG is back home in Phoenix. She actually left the Fort Sam Houston Army base last week, and she made her first IG post since being back. She says, in short, "It feels so good to be home. The last 10 months have been a battle at every turn. I dug deep to keep my faith, and it was the love from so many of you that helped me keep going. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone for your help. As I transition home to enjoy the holidays with my family, I want to acknowledge and thank the entire PISA staff and medical team at the San Antonio Fort Sam Houston base. I appreciate the time and care to make sure I was okay and equipped with the tools for this new journey. I also want to make one thing very clear. I intend to play basketball for the WNBA's Phoenix Mercury this season, and in doing so, I look forward to being able to say thank you to those of you who advocated, wrote, and posted for me in person soon." Yo, this WNBA season is about to be so lit. I hope they have someone ready to document the entire experience for her, because this season, this one right here, is gonna feel like a farewell, but it's a welcome home. I just know every stadium is gonna be sold out. I just know it. I just know it's gonna be an overflow for her and the W. Now, question, who do you think is gonna get that exclusive interview? Oprah, Gayle, or Robin Roberts? Come on, let me know in the comments. I'm going to tell y'all in my word who I think is going to get it, but I want to hear from you. Who is going to get the exclusive interview? Oprah, Gayle, or Robin Roberts? Come on. Welcome home, BG. Welcome home.
Are you lost in your podcast journey? If so, you found the right podcast. My name is DJ Tracy Treese, and I'm a podcast producer. In partnership with theCUBE, I'm bringing you the Lost and Found for Podcasters. I've worked behind the scenes on some of your favorite podcasts, and I'll be bringing you some great conversations with podcast industry experts to help you find your way through your podcast journey. There's so much information out there, and the industry is rapidly changing. No need to feel lost. You found the right podcast. Subscribe to the Lost and Found for Podcasters now. Everywhere that you listen to podcasts, if you prefer your podcast in video, click the link in the description to subscribe to this podcast on YouTube.
Can I just say that I'm here for all the good news that's popping off in this episode? Can I just say that, please? Because our next story is about the Respect for Marriage Act being law. This is a monumental moment. You should be able to say, I remember when the Respect for Marriage Act was signed into law, especially given the makeup of the current Supreme Court, and especially given Justice Thomas's threats to come for the LGBTQ community next. I had some friends who had the opportunity to attend in person on the lawn. Imani Rupert-Gordon, Executive Director of the National Center for Lesbian Rights, Cathy Renna, Communications Director of the National LGBTQ Task Force, and Bre'Yon Johnson, Executive Director of Equality Illinois. Now, I couldn't be there. I was watching. I was watching vicariously through them. But when I saw them, I asked them to record reflections of their experience because I wanted them to share it with you. To be on that lawn with other leaders of the LGBTQ movement who have worked towards this moment. I will say they're also working towards the Equality Act. Okay, we ain't forgot. But they were there for this moment. And I wanted to hear their reflections, and I wanted to share those reflections with you. Let's take a listen.
It was such a beautiful experience to be in person at the signing of the Respect for Marriage Act on Tuesday. It was an absolute beautiful day. Everyone was just so excited to be there. The performances, Sam Smith was there, Cyndi Lauper gave an amazing performance, and just as the president was signing into law, there were all of these LGBTQ couples and interracial couples that were there, and kids were there as well. It was just so beautiful. And you realize that this is going to make a difference, and it's going to keep our families together. And we were just proud because not only does the RMA repeal the Discriminatory Defense of Marriage Act, but it codifies marriage equality into law for the first time in the United States. And this is something that's just really amazing. This is going to protect LGBTQ couples, and this is going to provide us with access and benefits to make the best decisions for our families. And this is enshrined into law, and that's amazing. Now, we know that, of course, we still have more to do. We need to pass the Equality Act. We need federal protections for LGBTQ people and so many other things. But we also needed the Respect for Marriage Act. This is protecting our families, and I am proud that we get to celebrate it. It was a really beautiful, beautiful day.
It was extraordinary to be there together with what seemed like a few thousand of our favorite queer and allied folks and family. And while it was a moment of history in terms of the legislation, it was also very powerful to see the president say, this is just one piece of what we need to do. We need to pass the Equality Act. We need to protect trans kids. We need to look towards 2023 and 2024 in the next presidential election. There's so much work to do. There's so much hate and rhetoric. And to be a part of that, to feel energized by that as we end this year and start a new one was really, really powerful.
Being at the White House on Tuesday, December 13th for the signing of the Respect for Marriage Act was a good day. To be surrounded by hundreds of queer people from across the country, to hear our nation's most senior elected officials defend the right to marry whom you love was such an invigorating and energizing day. I think so much of the work of LGBTQ plus advocacy, particularly these days when our community is so under attack, can be draining and a little exhausting. But to have a day that is just set aside for joy meant so much. It was also a little bittersweet because I was aware of why we needed the Respect for Marriage Act. That law had to be passed because there is a good chance the Supreme Court will repeal marriage equality and overrule Obergefell. There is a good chance that when that happens, states across the country will begin rescinding marriage equality. So while I was very excited to be there and energized by the day, it was tempered by the acknowledgement that the forces are still coming for us.
Now, how beautiful was that? Thank you, Imani, Cathy, and Bre'Yon for providing your reflections. I've included some beautiful pictures that Imani shared with me of some of the folks she was with on the lawn. Check those out on the blog. And thank y'all again for your reflections and for your tireless work. Thank you. Now, it's that time of the year when we begin to look back and compile our year in reviews. Well, I want to do this part of Queer News unscripted. This is just going to be from my heart about each of these stories and what they've meant to me. I'm going to give y'all the top 5, right? The top 5 episodes of this year. And I'm rounding it off with some honorable mentions that comprise our top 10 episodes of 2022. I am reminded in this moment of the goals that I set forth when I first began this in November 2021. One of them was to hit over 20,000 listens. We did that. How exciting. We're now, according to Listen Notes, in the top 5% of the 2.9 million podcasts that are published on a weekly basis, which is amazing to me. That is amazing to me. And I'm really, really grateful for how we've been able to tell our stories. That's really why I started this. We deserve our stories to be heard too. And our stories are not just that of tragedy. They just aren't. And I want to allow that to be our narrative. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Our lives are filled with joy. And our lives are filled with hope and pleasure and intimacy and relationships and friendships. It's beautiful here, you know? And I just refuse for news to continue to just show the negative. We will uplift the sad moments because we need safe places where we can do that and hear that. But we also deserve all the places giving us all the joy. And I'm looking to do more of that in 2023. But we hit the listenership goal. Another goal was to connect with you all. I feel like we've done that a little bit on TikTok, but I want to do more of that going into 2023. I want to hear from you all more. And I'm gonna ask you all to send us your thoughts on SpeakPipe is the platform. And you can record right from your phone and we'll get it like a voicemail. I want to hear what you all are thinking, and I want y'all's opinions added to the podcast. And so we're going to be doing that more in 2023 as well. So I'm excited about all of that. And I'm also excited about setting new goals for the pod. I want to double our listenership. I want to grow our social presence. I want to continue amplifying our stories in brand new ways. And I know we're going to do that. I also want to grow the Q crew and provide more exclusive interviews and continue to uplift people in the community that are uplifting us. Like, this is what this is about. This is what this is about. Oh, this is what this is about. Hey. I think I just made a new song. But let's just get into this. And at the end of the day, I want to say that I'm really proud of our work. I'm really proud of what we've been able to accomplish. I'm really grateful for Carter, who started on this journey with me with Wake Up with Aina and Friends. I'm really grateful for Day being on the team and up in the production level of what we're creating in such a beautiful, beautiful way, right? They are creating our soundtrack here. And my hope is to continue to be a voice for our generation. That's my hope. So thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to live out my dreams. Yeah. All right. Enough of that. But it feels really good. So please, no. Thank you. So for our honorable mentions, all right, number 10 and number 9, they go hand in hand. Okay, we published 127 episodes this year. So this is just, 10% of the top 10% here. So number 9 and 10 are actually the episodes remembering Elise. Yeah, Elise Mallory, our comrade here, who was killed. And it's still unbelievable to me. We've done some beautiful things to help remember her and to put her life into action. And I thank Chicago Therapy Collective every day for the work that they're doing with the Higher Trans Now initiative, one that Elise cared so much about. And so if you're listening to this and you're a business owner and you're wondering how you can be more trans inclusive in your workspace, in your workplace, if you're wondering if you're doing everything you can to be a part of the solution, if you think you're not, I'm telling you, check out our show notes, reach out to Chicago Therapy Collective, tell them you heard about what their work on the Queer News podcast and get on their Higher Trans Now initiative. It's really, really important work. And we will remember Elise always. So number 9 and 10 are 2 episodes about remembering Elise. One with Iggy Ladden, who is the executive director of the Chicago Therapy Collective. And number 9 was the exclusive interview we had with Elise's sister, Fabiana. And I will tell you, when I did that interview, I was just so taken aback by how much she sounded like Elise. My God. Number 8 was about Apple releasing a gender-neutral Siri voice. Clearly, that was popular with the people. All right, number 7, Niecy Nash and Jessica Betts become the first lesbian couple to grace the cover of Essence. That is a big deal. We have that Essence cover at our house. Okay. I mean, we don't have Ebony and Jet like we used to, right? And so being on Essence matters for real. Number 6 was our Queer News Special Edition honoring Coretta while remembering Martin. I was really proud of this, and I'll probably actually rerun it in 2023 for Dr. King's birthday because the information is just so evergreen. Coretta Scott King is a freaking shero, and we forget about her impact. There is no King without Coretta. Period. And so I was really proud to see that came in at number 6, All right, now for our top 5 episodes of 2022, number 5 is the first trans woman is close to being approved for gender reassignment surgery while still in federal custody. This episode also talked about Amy Schneider, who went on her run on Jeopardy, and y'all know I was a big fan of hers. So that came in at number 5. That had 314 downloads and was one of our very first episodes of the year. It was January 7th. Then at number 4, with 346 downloads, it was our special edition, Bring Britney Home Part 2, which we published on April 13th. Then at number 3, with 376 downloads, Change the Pattern. The AIDS quilt travels the South with purpose. Y'all already know how I feel about Change the Pattern. The stories we're telling about Black HIV in the South, how do we get here? That's going to drop on February 7th. I'm so happy that came in at number 3 because I just know the podcast we're about to drop is going to be so powerful. So it's good to know that those stories are resonating with you all. Then at number 2, it was our episode about the first 2 Black trans women who were murdered the first 2 days of 2022. Yeah, so this was actually one of our very first episodes. It was on January 6th, and actually I think it might have been our first. And we were reporting about 2 Black trans women who had already been killed. Once again, 2022 was one of the deadliest years on record for Black trans women specifically. And there is a lot of destigmatizing. There is a lot of work that we have to do in our communities. So much work, so much work to protect our trans sisters, period. That came in at number 2, though, with 432 downloads. And so I will continue to report about our Black trans women. Far too often we are left with the GoFundMes and the tragedies and unsolved cases, right? We will continue to amplify and challenge these institutions to find out who's taking our siblings from us. And then a drum roll. I don't know if that was a drum roll at all. But at number one with 891 downloads. I mean, double the amount of downloads of the next set of top podcasts of 2022. Number one is our very first special edition, Bring Britney Home, that we published on Wednesday, March 9th of 2022. The entire Britney series has just really solidified my work with the podcast, solidified our work with E3 Radio. It has shown a light as to why it's so important that we continue to tell our stories, because as news cycles move on, I don't have to. We don't have to here at the Queer News Podcast. We can continue to tell the stories that we care most about, that are about the people we care most about. And that is what I will continue to do as long as it continues to bring me joy. And it does. And it will continue to bring me joy. And we'll keep following Brittney Griner, especially as we welcome her into her next WNBA season. And let me just tell y'all, I told y'all in the word, this is the word, I believe Robin Roberts is going to get that exclusive. I think it's going to be Robin. But let me tell y'all, this is our last episode of the year. I'm so proud of our top 10 episodes, and I'm proud of the episodes to come. Tell a friend, okay? Tell a friend. This is going to be our last episode of the year, but we'll be back. Yeah, so we'll be back Monday, January 9th to kick off our season 2 of Queer News 2023. Y'all take care of yourselves, hug on your loved ones, and we'll see you next year. And until next year, peace. If you enjoyed what you hear, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is a production of E3 Radio, your number one queer radio station playing queer music and reporting on queer news in high rotation.